Hello everybody, my name is Leo and with this video we will share a comparison video between the Mooer GE250, that by the way I have reviewed in my channel, and the Hotone Ampero. Let me say that I am making this comparison also thanks to your comments because you actually asked for it, so thank you for all your great comments and suggestions. Actually, I hope that this video will be useful for many guitarists who maybe are deciding to buy a new amp modeling and multi-effect pedalboard in the 400–450 price range and are unsure which one to choose. Let me say that both these pedalboards are good options, but maybe one of them has that extra feature that better suit your needs. And by the way, at the end of this video I will also try to give you my opinion about which one I would get. The arguments we will discuss together are: in the demo song at the beginning of the video we have already heard the two units in action. Then, with the help of a comparison chart that I've done, we will discuss the technical differences between the two pedalboards in terms, for instance, of in, out, sampling frequency and so on and so forth. So I mean all the technical stuff where maybe there is that extra feature hidden that is indispensable for you and that could guide your choice. Then we will better listen to the sound differences that you may have already heard in the demo song. You know, it would be impossible to check all the amp models one against the other, so I prefer to choose just two famous ones in order to verify if there are some specific differences that could address our evaluation. These amps are a Fender Twin Reverb and a Marshall JCM 800, trying to use the same setting in both the units, same equalization, same type of cab, and so on and so forth. Finally, at the end of the video, I will give you my 2 cents. So, a lot of interesting stuff in my opinion, and I cannot wait to share all of them with you. Let's start! We will now compare the two units in terms of technical specifications, input, outputs, number of presets, etc. More specifically, we will check the differences among amp and cab models, banks, patches, preset, number of effects, MIDI in and MIDI out capability, instrument input types, other input outputs, screen, foot switch and expression pedal, drum machine and looper capability, USB and ADA conversion, capability of load third-party IRs and typology, special features, current and power needed, dimension, weight, and finally price. So now let's start. First of all, we have 70 amps model and 32 cabs built-in for the Mooer, 64 amps and 60 cabs built-in for the Ampero. So basically, in my opinion, here we have the same capability. So 2 green thumbs up for both of the units. Furthermore, the GE has 85 banks, each of 3 patches with 255 patches in total. You can browse the banks with the dedicated foot switches and then each preset of the bank with the A, B and C foot switches. On the other hand, the Ampero has 66 banks, each of 3 patches with 198 total patches. You can browse the banks pressing both the first and the second foot switches for bank down or the second and the third for bank up. And then, to browse the patches, you should press the first, second or third foot switch. So, I would give the thumbs up to the GE as it has more patches in total. As regards effects, the GE has 11 effects blocks, 2 of them dedicated to the FX loop with 180 effects, while the Ampero has 9 blocks with 242 effects. So the Ampero has more effects but less blocks. I would give a thumb up to both of them. As regards MIDI, we have MIDI in or out, but not at the same time for the GE, and only MIDI in the Ampero, so I would give the thumbs up only to the GE250. Instrument input types. We have 1 instrument input for each of them, but the GE has only 1 configurable impedance at 1 MΩ, while the Ampero has 3 impedance configurations for electric guitar, acoustic guitar, and line input. So in this case, I would give the thumbs up to the Ampero. As regards the other inputs, we have the GE250 that has FX loop, balanced and unbalanced input and output, aux in and headphone output. Same thing for the Ampero, but the Ampero lacks the FX loop in and out. So basically here I would give the thumbs up to the GE250. The screen, in my opinion, is better in the Ampero because it's bigger, 4 inches against 3.5 inches in the GE250. Furthermore, the Ampero has a touch screen, while the GE250 screen is not touch. So thumbs up to the Ampero. Let's talk a little bit now about foot switches and expression pedal capability. Basically, the expression pedal capability are equal because for both the unit we have an expression pedal built in, and then we have the possibility to attach another expression pedal with a dedicated input. As regards the foot switches, the GE250 has 5 of them, while the Ampero has 4. Here I would spend a few words because I think it is a difference that could be important for some of us. Basically, with the Ampero, in order to switch the banks, you have to press together the first and second foot switch to bank down, or the second and the third to bank up. While in the G250, you have dedicated foot switches to bank up or bank down. Both of the units have 3 dedicated foot switches to go through the 3 patches of a bank, while it seems that the G250 is missing the control foot switch of the Ampero that can be used, for instance, for the tap tempo. Actually, it is not missing, but it is a second functionality of the A, B and C foot switches of the GE250 once you have selected a patch. I think that this is a pretty clever solution. So finally, I will give a thumbs up to the GE250. As regards the drum machine and the looper, we have 70 rhythms pattern built in the GE250 and 100 of them in the Ampero, and the GE250 can record 70 seconds stereo looper, while 50 seconds are available in the Ampero. So here I would give a thumbs up to both the units. And they are on pair also as regards the USB capabilities. In fact, both of them can serve as an audio interface for recording your guitar. I would give a thumbs down to both of them because I would have preferred more options as regards sampling rate, for instance with 48 kHz, and the possibility to have the amp sound in one track and the effects in other 2 tracks in order to decide the amount of effects while mixing. Unfortunately, both units are weak as regards these features, in my opinion. With both units we can load third-party IRs in 10 slots, but the GE offers 2048 sample points in comparison with the 1024 offered by the Ampero, so the GE is a little bit better here. As regards special features, I would mention the tone capture capability of the GE250 that is missing in the Ampero. Then we have the power needs, where the GE needs 9 volt with a lot of current at 1000 mA, and the Ampero needs 18 volts at 500 mA. So I would give a thumbs down to both of the units, as these types of voltages and amperes are not common among power units of our pedalboards. Finally, as regards weight, dimension and price, here we have that the Ampero is a little bit smaller and lighted, and also the price of the Ampero is a little bit lower at 390 euro against 450 for the GE250. So finally, let's count the green and the red thumbs. We have 9 green thumbs for the GE with 6 reds, and we have 7 greens for the Ampero with 8 reds. So I would say that the GE is better just by a tiny bit. Obviously, this is just a technical comparison without considering that each feature could have a different importance for you. And so, for instance, you can consider the Ampero better just because it has a touch screen that you need. Or maybe the FX loop of the GE250 is very important for you. But if you just algebraically sum the features, in my opinion, the GE is a little bit better. now, final considerations. First of all, let me say that both units are surprisingly good for the price, both in terms of how they sound and the features they offer. As regards the amp modeling, in my opinion they are pretty similar. Some amps sound better in the Mooer and others in the Ampero, and you have also a lot of possibilities to tweak the sound according to your needs. Also, if I think at the effects, in my opinion there is not a specific reason to choose one unit against the other. The Ampero has a touchscreen that the Mooer does not have, but the Mooer has one more foot switch and has a tone capture function. So finally, which one would I buy? And please consider that this is a totally subjective opinion. In my opinion, there are two distinctive features which make me lean towards a specific unit. The first one is that I tend to switch more than 3 sounds in live situations, so I need to bank up and bank down while playing. Actually, switching through banks is easier in the Mooer, in my opinion, because you have 2 dedicated foot switches for doing that, where in the Ampero you have to press together the first and the second foot switch to bank down and the second and the third to bank up. Well, while I'm playing I want to be focused on music and I don't want to think, well, I have to switch bank, let's hope that I press properly the first and second foot switch together to change the bank properly. The other distinctive feature is the tone capture feature available in the Mooer that I like and I think is pretty useful to, customize your tone and get it more close to, for instance, your favorite amp. On the other hand, the touchscreen of the Ampero, even if it is a nice feature, is not so important for me because I tend to use the computer editing software for building my sounds and I'm actually not using the screen so often. So, at the end, I would choose the GE250 even if it costs $5 more than the Ampero. As I said, this is totally subjective and I would like to know your opinion and which one of the 2 units you would choose. So let me know in the comment below. So these were my final 2 cents. We have now reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did it, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell and leave a thumbs up. It would be of a great help. See you in the next video. Bye bye.